introduction. So we are going to have it a very whiteboard session. It's going to be a very interactive webinar rather than, showing you pre-processed presentations. We are going to have a whiteboard, natural flow kind of webinar so that you can retain whatever we understand, right? Instead of just looking at slides, you will understand more when I whiteboard with you all, right? So first introduction, I would like all of you to understand what are LLMs. What are LLMs? So basically, LLMs, as most of you call it, ChatGPT, right? But ChatGPT technically is a LLM. It's a large language model. What is it? It's a large language model. ChatGPT is one kind of model, right? Similarly, you have Bard, right, from Google. How many of you are clear till here? Can anyone tell me what is the offering from Facebook or Meta? It is Llama. Are you all clear with this? So there are different LLMs, large language models. ChatGPT is one of them, which is developed by OpenAI, company called OpenAI, right? And you have Bard from Google, and Facebook has Llama. Now, what do you mean by these large language models, right? These models are actually trained on vast amount of text and code. So essentially, you can understand that it has been trained with the data of available in internet. For example, it has learned the whole internet. Now, not only they can have learned it, but now they are generative. So they can also write based on the learnings. So they can themselves write poems. They can, create new compose poems, generate code. Everything can be done, right? But so essentially, if you can understand, this is like a very sophisticated AI. So the takeaway for all of you is what? That LLMs, large language models, are sophisticated AI models. Okay. Now, those who are very new to AI, I can say you can understand them as robots, which can create poems for you, which can write new things for you, which can compose, summarize, do everything for you. Those who are clear till here, please raise your hand. Okay. So now, would you like to play around with the robot in a way that it operates in exactly the way you want it to? Or would you want, you give instruction, but you're not sure how the robot will react? What do you want? Scenario 1 or scenario 2 here? Scenario 1 or scenario 2? Right? So essentially, all of us want to play with this robot or do the work with our robot essentially in the way we want it to react, and then, use that learning to move forward. Correct? So this is what is prompt engineering. Okay. So for example, let me give you a more simple example. Suppose I open ChatGPT. Suppose I open ChatGPT, right? Can you all see this message ChatGPT box here, right? So suppose I write hi here, right? This is called as prompting. The hi which I send is called prompt, right? This is called input prompt, and the prompt which ChatGPT has returned is called output prompt. How many of you are clear till here? So there is input prompt, and what ChatGPT has returned is output prompt. Okay, but in general, when we say prompt, we generally mean input prompt. Okay, so if I don't specify what prompt, it is input prompt. Okay, now you can see that the input prompt, write me a script to show importance of prompt engineering for ChatGPT. Suppose I write this. Now it is writing a script. How many of you can see it's writing a proper script here? Right? So it has written a script. How many of you are getting what I'm saying? So basically this script, if you read this script, Unleashing the Power of Prompt Engineering for ChatGPT, how ChatGPT has become more accurate and relevant lately. So it has prepared a script. But wouldn't it make more sense if I prompted it in this way? That, so it has created like a movie script, right? But what I wanted was a webinar script. So what I should have prompted, write me a script for a webinar with the audience being highly technical and having solid knowledge about LLMs. The script should show the importance of prompt engineering and should be of 4 lines. All of you now check what is the output. So if you see here, it's a totally different output. Welcome, esteemed attendees. Today we delve into pivotal realm of prompt engineering for LLMs. Prompt engineering stands as a... So how many of you are getting it? The way I have instructed it totally changes how the output comes. So wouldn't it be useful, because we are going towards a world where ChatGPT is going to be integrated in a lot of our work, wouldn't it be useful for all of you to understand how best you can prompt it to get what you want in the minimum time possible? Those who are following me, please raise your hand. Does it make sense to all of you, what I'm trying to say here? If anyone has any comments, you can post it. Any questions? Perfect. So this is what we are going to learn in the next 40 minutes. What is prompt engineering and how best we can, what are different models of prompt engineering and how best we can use it. Okay. So let us now move towards the next part, which is the core part of our work today, prompt anatomy. Okay. The first prompt which I said, that you just give me a script, that is called open-ended prompts. Okay, that's called open-ended prompts. Like, for example, write a poem on cat. Okay, this is a open-ended prompt. What will this initiate? This will spark creativity and exploration. Okay, so it is open-ended, it is for creativity and exploration. But when we give close-ended prompts, like how I gave, I want it to be concise of 5 sentences, so and so forth, then it will be guided towards a specific answer. For example, summarize a given article, right? We give a article and we say, you just summarize and give it to me. So it is like you're not asking it to write its own article, but you're just saying, summarize a given article. How many of you are following what I'm saying? Right? Now there are another set of prompts which are called hybrid prompts. Here you have to combine both elements for nuance control. Right? Now, how do you give? So what we will focus more on today is close-ended prompts. Right? You don't want, most of our work will be close-ended, right? We'll have some definition of it. If we have to go for creativity, then you may as well as type whatever you want. But it is very essential to understand what kind of prompts or how you can do better close-ended prompts. Okay. So for example, the three most important thing or elements in a prompt are wordings, or let's say keywords, for example, I put in that it is for a webinar, I want to have a script, right? Then I need to give an instruction. What instruction? I need it to be 5 lines, right? I need it to be, not being very funny, or it should be formal, for example, right? So that can also be called the context, right? You may want to give a context that I'm giving a webinar of 40 minutes. Uh, you know, it's a very technical crowd, right? Technical crowd. They want to understand quickly what is prompt engineering and how it will help, you know, how it will help initiate good output from models, right? So the tone, you want it formal, not formal, all these things, right? So keywords, instruction, and context. And many places they also write the format you want the output. For example, you want the output in a JSON format or in a table format. You can also mention that. How many of you are getting what I'm saying? So in general, whenever you write a prompt, you need to think about these three things: keywords, what instructions you want, what context you want, and what format you want. So let us try one example. Let us give an example. Suppose we want to write a story. We want from ChatGPT one story. Okay. So let's me create a case study here. Okay, let's create a case study. Many of you wanted some marketing case study. So you are a uh, marketing manager for a company called ZTech, which is into e-commerce of electronic items. You want to develop a strategy to increase the sales, right? So suppose this is the case study. I hope all of you will enjoy this. So I've created a case study now. You have to give me a prompt for the above case study. Now keep in mind about the keywords you want to put, instructions you want to give, any context and any format you want the output to be. So all of you, think on these lines. This is the case you want to solve. What prompt will you give to ChatGPT? All of you? What prompt will you create for a ChatGPT? How many of you are trying it? Can you put it in the chat box? Okay. It's good to see so many of you attempting it. I'm having a good time seeing all your prompts. This is superb. Good to see. So did this help you all? First of all, this simple guide which I have given you right now, is it helping you right now? Yes or no? Or it was already known to all of you? Because I'm going to make it more complex. Just 1 second, please. So many of you have given very good. I'm just going through them quickly, right? So suppose okay, essentially, right, I have prepared a template, a more complicated template now. So you are all writing 2 or 3 sentences, which is fine. But I'm saying in industry, we may more elaborate. So what elaboration we can do, I'll just show you all. So for example, I can elaborate on ZTech is a leading e-commerce retailer in electronics. It desires a, I'm sorry. Yeah. So it desires a 20% increase in year-on sales by Q4 2024. I think none of you mentioned this. So this is like giving a very good context which you get from your leadership. I hope all of you are getting the idea, right? So you're setting up the context that this is for the Q4 2024 next year. We want 20% increase. As a marketing manager, we are utilizing a large language model to develop a comprehensive sales strategy. Now, this is what we are doing it, right? You are a marketing manager and you are now using a LLM to develop a strategy. So what the prompt should address? One is, can you give a context that the e-commerce website is generally used by people in the range of 30 to 50 years? How many of you are getting what I'm saying? That marketing is very dependent on age also, right? So that part you need to take care. That prompt you may have to give. Leverage the LLM to define and refine potential new target audience. But suppose you want to go for expansion. Now, marketing can be either to retain your audience, or you want to expand your audience, right? Then marketing can be you want to give a product recommendation to your customers. That care you can look into. Explore opportunities for using customer data, browsing history, and purchase patterns to tailor recommendation and increase conversion rates. You can give a content marketing, investigates LLM's potential in generating engaging and SEO product description, right? So a lot of work is now being taken by care by LLMs or ChatGPT in this case, that you can use. You can ask during this that I want you to create a blog post which can increase the increase the keyword research or increase the probability of your company's website coming at the top. SEO can be done using LLMs, right? Conventional marketing and chatbots. Develop scenarios where LLM powered chatbot can assist customers, right? A/B testing can be done. Budget can be allocated. So here in the context, you may have to give a budget also, that my budget is this, so and so forth, right? Define clear metrics, and then you will have a robust prompt for your company. So suppose I had to write a prompt, what I would write? I'll take this part and then I'll go to ChatGPT, right? I'm working as a marketing manager and want to, want to present to the leadership the possible growth areas. I want to focus on the retainment of existing clients rather than focusing on expansion, right? I can write more here. The budget for me to spend on marketing is $1 million. Please suggest a template in a tabular format for the marketing budget to be spent for. Suppose I'm giving this. Can you all see how useful this becomes? Okay, because I am focusing on client retention, customer loyalty programs will be very important. Personalized email campaigns will have to be done. remarketing and retargeting has to be done, improve customer support, content marketing, right? To reinforce brand loyalty, data analytics and tool, miscellaneous contingency. How many of you are impressed by this? At the end of this prompt, you have a solid understanding of what can be done in order to, discuss with your leadership how we want to create or, present to our, spend our $1 million to increase our budget, right? Perfect. So now what I want all of you to also understand that the world of prompting, right? There are now websites which are only focused on different promptings. So I will also show you maybe some techniques. There are now techniques written on how to do good prompting with different models, right? Also, if you see, there are apps now. Let's check. Most of them are paid, but if you see here, there are applications or there are websites which can actually create prompt for you. Let me write it better. Prompting apps for ChatGPT. So for example, these apps keeps on changing. Yeah, suppose we use this. So there are a lot of now AI prompt generators. So the work of this is, suppose you had put in video script about mind mapping. Now this app will do what? Instead of you using this generalized, please help me a outliner for my tutorial video about mind mapping. The concept is about business branding, only includes the business promotional projects. So what I want all of you to understand, I'll share this link with all of you, that there are now dedicated websites, dedicated applications, paid services, which can help you in writing good prompts. That's the importance of prompt engineering. So one key takeaway for all of you is prompting is what makes you better user of LLMs or in general ChatGPT. One is you need to learn on your own good techniques to write prompt. Okay. Then you also need to understand there are already websites or apps, paid apps, free apps, which can help you generate prompts. Okay. And lastly, there are models, okay, on which you can learn to write prompt. For example, let me give you, for example, the third one. What do I mean by models, right? One of the popular model is called N shots or few shots prompt. Can anyone understand what is this? Suppose you have to teach a child, right? What is the general technique you use to teach a child, right? What you will do, you will give examples to the child, right? For example, 2 plus 2 is equal to 5, right? 4, sorry. Similarly, you will give some examples and teach the child, right? Similarly, when you want to get some specialized output from your prompt or from ChatGPT, you can do something called few shot prompting. Let me give you one example. For example, let me go back to ChatGPT. For example, here, Start a story with the following sentence. The old clock in the tower chimed midnight and the whispers began. So all of you, are you getting, you're giving a context, a example to it, that you need to use a few short, you need to give some examples, right? Many of you are Many of you may want to give some examples for your code, etc. That this is how you want to write your code, and accordingly it will start giving you output. So I'll give you more examples for few shots prompting. All of you, please note this. This will help you a lot. So suppose this, can you all see this is awesome, right? Double slash negative. This is bad. Double slash positive. Wow, that movie was rad. Double slash positive. What a horrible show. What do you think will be the output here? So if you see here, I send it to ChatGPT. Can you all see? It has learned that this is negative. Actually, it is a positive. This is awesome. It is positive. So it is telling you that, okay, there is some confusion in your sentiments. So it has understood with these examples that you wanted the sentiment of this sentence. The sentiments which you have given is opposite of what actually it should be, but still it is letting you know about it. How many of you are getting what I'm trying to show? So this is called few shots prompting. Okay, this is called few shot prompting. So for example, suppose I give this. The odd numbers in the group add up to an even number. The answer is false. So here you want an output in this format. Here you want an output in this format. So let's see what format it gives. So it is giving you the answer exactly in the same format you wanted. The answer is false. How many of you are following what I'm saying? I request all of you to create or give me one example of few shot prompting. Okay, you're free to search for it. I'll give you 2 minutes for it. Quickly try to find out and send me one. Thank you. Perfect. So many of you have answered, many of you have not answered. Can AI generate misleading content? Yes, Arun, it can do that. Okay, some of you have given mathematical examples. Okay, so you have most of you have taken examples from the promptingguide.com. I wanted you to create your own this thing. Yeah, I think this is one good one from Naga Venkata Sai Srujan. Let me use this. But I think it may not be able to answer this, but let's check. Perfect. So if you see, it has corrected the statement and it is this thing also. So here, in fact, I think let's try to see, understand the pattern and just show the answer. No explanation required. Let's see what happens now. So I'm telling it, understand the, perfect. So it is saying this is awesome is negative, this is bad is positive. Wow, that movie was rad is positive. What a horrible show, it is saying negative. Shouldn't it be positive? Okay, so you can see it's hallucinating now. It's not able to understand, but yeah, if you see, we can do this kind of prompting also. Now there is something called chain of thought prompting also. The prompting guide, you can see chain of thought prompting. Now here, if you see what happens, Roger has 5 tennis balls. He buys 2 more cans of tennis balls. Each has 3 tennis balls. How many tennis balls does he have now? Right? Now here you have explained the answer that he has 5 balls, 2 cans. So 6 balls, 5 plus 6 is equal to 11. Now the same question you are asking the, asking it for another scenario, you are getting this output, right? So same way, if you see, so basically in chain of thought, what is happening? You're giving the thought process also. You're not just giving the example, you're giving the thought process also. How many of you are getting what I'm trying to say here? So if you see here, adding all the numbers gives 25. The answer is false. So I'm doing exactly this. So what it will do? It is answering in the exact way that first I need to add all the numbers and then it needs to give 41. How many of you are following chain of thoughts prompting? So essentially, I want all of you to understand just one thing. Sorry, I was on mute. So if you want to, if you see the pattern here, if you see the pattern here, you are teaching, you're teaching the LLM with some example that first you are adding, and this is how you are getting the output, so and so forth. In the similar pattern, it is learning and it is for giving you the output. Now, the other thing I want all of you to understand is that there are now papers written to it. Can you see here? It is giving you some paper from published in Cornell University website where people are writing about how to prompt ChatGPT. Now, those who are from different field, right? Some of you are from medical field, most of you are from coding background, some of you are from marketing field, right? You can go to scholar.google.com and if you search here, ChatGPT prompts for say healthcare, right? Now, you will find that there are different papers written now by researchers who say that what kind of prompting you can do in different field. Okay, how many of you are following what I'm trying to say? That ChatGPT is now used for different sectors, and each sector, the experts, they see that what kind of prompt gave what kind of output, and they benchmark with their domain knowledge whether this prompt result was better or the other prompt result was better, right? So all these things on prompts are taking place in the industry right now, right? Obviously, let me list some best practices again. I'll just list now in general what all you need to remember or what are the best practices you want to, how do you want to use ChatGPT for example, the first thing when you want to use ChatGPT for coding or any LLM for coding, right, for developing codes, the first thing you need to do is, so for example, write a Python function that takes a sentence as input and returns its sentiment as positive, negative, or neutral. Use the naive-Bayes algorithm and train it on a data set of labeled movie review, right? So this is one prompt you can write. Suppose I write this and see what it generates. Write a Python function that takes a sentence and returns this. So if you see here, it is explaining you. First, you have to get NLTK installed. Then this is the code for it. And it will also give you a good explanation of what is the process behind it. So how many of you are getting here? So it is using a naive-Bayes algorithm and you know what packages it needs to import. All these things are given by this. So you need to be clear and specific. What kind of, what's the purpose of the code you want to generate? So first step is what? You need to be clear and specific that is purpose of your code should be clear. Okay. What I have also learned that when you provide context, the few shot prompting, provide context. In fact, what I do is, if it is not a, if it is okay in my company, in your company, or if you have your company has your own playground for LLMs or for ChatGPT, then you can also share existing code snippets, right? And ask it to generate code on those lines. So that also works very fine. So what I'm trying to say is examples are very important when you want ChatGPT to code. So for example, suppose I take the same code, copy code, and suppose I make some error here. So if you see here, I remove nav here. And if I write now, debug the code. So all of you, you check here, I had removed nav. And if you see now, it will analyze it. And it has mentioned here that specifically the base classifier dot train is not correctly referencing nav base classifier. So you have to add this. So how many of you are getting what I'm saying? I gave it an example. I gave it my code. And I'm saying that, boss, you learn from this code and tell me what you want, or I want it similar to this. Those who are following me, please raise your hand. I hope this is being useful to all of you, right? The other thing from my experience I can say is, first is clear and specific. The second is give context and examples to ChatGPT. Third is you should break down complex tasks. Don't give your task in one go. Give it in a smaller bit, right? If it is complex, just ask first to analyze the data, for example, then write the code, right? So prompt ChatGPT in smaller chunks to code. That also helps, okay? And lastly, again, I'll say you can always show that what kind of production ready code you want, what is your expectations from client. The second step again. So after you get your final code, you can say, I want this, the code in this format, or the client wants it in this format. It can do the same. So again, this is kind of in the zone of few short prompting. Perfect. So with this, I hope all of you enjoyed the session. The key takeaways for all of you may have been that prompting is not just a small thing now. It is a big art, right? Prompt engineering is a big art to develop your applications on LLMs or to increase your productivity using LLMs, right? So you may have learned now that you have applications to create prompts, right? You have different models to write your prompt, and you have you need to give proper context to ChatGPT to write your prompts. And lastly, there is a lot of research being done on prompt engineering. So do let me know what your feedback is. There is another side of prompt engineering, that is when you are developing applications using LLMs. How do you ensure your LLMs are performing well as per the audience or as per your user expectation? But that is for some other time. Today's I wanted to focus on how you want to use it personally rather than developing applications on LLMs. With this, I'll end this session. I'm reading your chat. If you have any comments or feedback, any questions, please ask them. I will try to answer them while reading your chat box. Ankit's session was simply superb and mind-blowing. Thank you, Shravan. It helps me keep motivated. Anyone has any comments? Any questions? Please ask me. How can we use chain of thought prompting for text classification? Any examples, links, suggestion, please? Yes, Jaira, there are a lot of them. I would suggest you can go through prompting guide only. There you will get the understanding that text classification can be done using how you need to give the prompt for chain of thoughts. When can we have session for developing application using prompt engineering? Maybe Sumer, we can have it next month. I will let the coordinators know about it. What is hallucination? Okay, that's a technical term in LLMs where the LLMs gets confused and is not able to answer well. This generally happens if you have not prompted it well. Okay. What is nuance control? So nuance control is slowly, steadily, you try to make your LLMs biased. That is when it is called nuance control. Make a session on Python-based prompting. Sure. For enterprise data using ChatGPT API for interacting with privacy data, Amit. Yeah, that's a good suggestion, Amit. We can plan one session on that. how to go ahead from this as a beginner regarding creating chatbots? Can you give suggestion? Ayush, you will have to learn more about ChatGPT APIs or how to use LLMs. There are now Hugging Face models also available online, which you can utilize to create your applications. Those are different. I mean, you will have to go into depth of how to, use LLMs. That's a different course altogether. Perfect. Thank you all for your positive feedback. Helps me keep motivated. Thank you, one. All of you take care. Till the next time. Let's take care of yourself. Bye.